Good day to you. My name is Lance Brown. I'm senior committee member of the Southwest Vintage Committee. And we're here at the USGP at Glen Helen today promoting vintage bikes. Give you some kind of idea what we're trying to do in the Southwest is bring back the camaraderie of the vintage community. It's been doing very well up north in Northwest, does very well in Arizona, but it seemed to lay down and die for quite some time in the Southwest or Southern California. So we have decided as volunteers to put a committee together and go after events that will be able to draw back people to vintage racing. Criteria we've used is everything, all bikes 1974 and earlier, or like design. But basically we're trying to keep vintage racing alive, to give an opportunity for the older riders that don't want to do motocross, love riding their old bikes with soul, and try to keep it healthy. And by doing this, we think we'll bring back the younger kids, the guys under 50.
My name is Dave Boyce, and I'm from Mesa, Arizona. I run a vintage racing club called the American Vintage Dirt Racers Association, and own a business mail order for the vintage parts called AMS Racing, based out of Mesa, Arizona also. I'm trying to work with Tammy and Lance and get this antique bike racing kicked up and get going again here in California, where they've had a little bit of problem with finding a qualified track. And Lance and Tammy came up with this idea to put on these Scrambles type races, and we had the first one and it was very successful. I enjoyed myself and I broke down. I still enjoyed myself. We're trying to bring back a safe day of racing where a 60-year-old guy could bring out a 60-year-old motorcycle and have a great time on it with other people that were like-minded. We have no problem with kids coming out and being part of it, but we want to keep it with a group of bikes and like mentality people on the track. There's nothing better to keep this going than to pass this on to your son and bring your friends into it. The idea with Lance and Tammy is to make the track as safe as it ever could be, that everyone could ride any machine that they wanted to ride at that time. With a little party atmosphere thrown in, a little bike show going on, and Lance's brainchild has kind of come to fruition. They had their first race, they got another one coming up, and I know everybody's looking forward to it.
One of the things that we've been combating for quite some time is the established motocross parks are designed for modern bikes. And if you've ridden a vintage bike, 7 and 4 length suspension, you know that it's as friendly as they try to make the track. It's very difficult. What we've gone back and done is we really don't hold motocross course races. We go out in a virgin field and set up an old-time Scrambles. Pretty much 1967 is the area we use it. There was a transition of motorcycles becoming much more efficient and much more reliable. But we get away from the big jumps and the large burns, and we go out there and take stakes and ribbon and put it out and find the natural obstacles for you to climb over. And it seemed to work out pretty good.
Oh yeah. And what Lance and Tammy are after is virtually a period of time when motorcycles had just being built for dirt bikes. They were all before this, they were street bikes that you'd taken the lights off of and put a knobby tire on, and it was a dirt bike. At this point, where Lance is trying to recreate is the time when the Greaves, the Dots, the Cottons, and these first purpose-built machines were introduced. Yeah, the very beginning of it. And if you want the big jumps and you want to see who the very fastest guy there ever was, probably don't want to come to one of our races because it won't be taking place there.
We're having a new event at the Roy Rogers Ranch here in Apple Valley, November 19th and 20th. Scrambles on the 20th, trials and slot meets, and a number of other activities going on Saturday the 19th. So I'm going to introduce you to Tammy Greenhill administrator of our organization, and take it away.
Yep, we're doing a really cool mixer on Friday night at Holiday Inn, our title sponsor, and we're going to have legends there for autograph signing and promotions of the event. Saturday night, we're going to be doing old school bench racing around the bonfire, and our host at Roy Rogers Ranch is going to have possibly a wedding.
Well, speaking of legends, look who happened to stop by. It's the world-famous John Rice, or as everybody knows him as, John R. What a treat.
Are you getting excited about our old school Scrambles race coming up in November?
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys doing it, but I'm not so excited because I want to ride it, but I'm not going to ride it.
Why not?
Well, because everybody tells me that I'm too old and don't act like an 18-year-old kid anymore. And I'm not too old, but I haven't been riding for about 5-6 years. I ride my trail bike all the time at home, but I don't want to get hurt, especially. And if you're going to go racing, you have the chance of coming off and getting hurt, and I don't want to get hurt no more.
Well, you know we're doing old school Scrambles, so it's pre-motocross.
Yeah, right. 74 and under, which I'm glad you guys are doing this, and the 74 and under, because it started that way, and now it's up into the bikes are up into the 80s and close maybe 90s for in the vintage world. I know they ride in their own different classes, but I like it. You guys want to have vintage only.
At our event, we're having trials on Saturday, so we're introducing trials to what we're doing, and we have a gentleman that's bringing out 15 trials bikes. So, and he's letting anybody who wants to learn how to do trials or try to experience that, come on out to our event and just try it.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
I look familiar. I think I know him from the past.
Yes, my dad, John.
It's John R. How
Yeah.
are you?
How you doing, buddy?
Great. Thanks for coming out, man.
You told me you haven't seen me since Corriganville.
That's right. That's been, wow.
And then Bob Hope bought it called Hopetown.
That's exactly right.
And the last race of Hopetown, I can't really remember. You might have to help me. I think it was probably 1973 or 7. Last race of Hopetown was 71.
73. You're right.
73. I rode I rode the first race there, and I rode the last race.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you what, when John R. came around on his Honda number 7, crossed up like this, we all went, "What is that? That's John R." Hey, thanks very much.
Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
And you're going to come out and start our race on November.
They asked me to come out to start the vintage race at the Day in the Dirt.
Day in the Dirt on Saturday.
Was that Saturday?
It's Saturday, it's Thanksgiving weekend, and it's the Fast House. People asked my dad to come out and be the starter of the vintage race on Saturday.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I guess I'll do that.
I'm sure a lot of you folks out there know these two legends, Preston Petty and John R. What a treat it has to have both you guys here today. And Preston, I'm so glad you're feeling better. You look great.
Oh, thank you.
What's been going on? What can you tell our folks out there?
Oh, I had taken some, here a couple months ago, so they gave me some new medication. And it was like cyanide pills for me. Damn near killed me.
Damn near kill you, but it must have done something to your complexion because you look great.
Well, thank you. I've been working real hard on recovering. So
I know, it takes
make sure I don't take any more than
I know, that's right. Well, thank you so much. And John R., of course, it's always a pleasure, both of you guys.
Well, thank you.
Isn't it great to see Preston?
Oh, great to see Preston. He's my hero.
You know how we knew it was you? We saw the coveralls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a giveaway.
I know it is.
It's a giveaway, Preston. If you don't have those coveralls, you walk right by it.
Yeah, we'd have thought you were Elvis
sneak
or
in
somebody.
somewhere, go incognito, I'll just change coveralls.
Incognito.
Nobody will know.
Never know. Thanks so much. Nice to see you. Thank you, fellas.
You bet, buddy.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Gavin, what do you think about our racing, our old school Scrambles racing?
Yeah, I mean, motocross in England used to be called Scrambles.
Really?
Oh yeah, before they even invented motocross. And when I came over here and started Motorcycle Weekly and started running Ascot and then Carlsbad, it was still Scrambles. I couldn't understand what Scrambles were. They were running across the desert. So anyway, we sort of introduced motocross, and It's funny, I just saw Roger DaCosta about an hour ago. And Roger's catching me up in age. I knew him when he was 17, when we used to go to Czechoslovakia to the CZ factory behind the Iron Curtain. And Carlsbad was Roger's nemesis. He never won it. Garrett Wolfsink won most of them, Marty Moats and Chuck Sun. But yeah, I had so much fun doing it, and we used to just have an absolute. And I was just saying to somebody, when I realized that we'd actually come, we had ABC Wide World of Sports, Jim McKay and all those guys, and we always had a huge crowd, and they used to tape it in June and air it, ABC Wide World of Sports, in January when the rest of the country was freezing cold. So they'd get some of the biggest ratings for any sport. And I always remember driving down the 5 freeway to San Diego, and as I got to Palomar Airport Road, I knew we had arrived when I saw a freeway green Caltrans sign, says motocross, next left. And everybody was going, how did you do that? I said, because motocross has arrived. But I'm glad to see it out here. Obviously we used to have pickups and vans back and then, now they got big old transporters, but it still doesn't change the quality and the test of skills, because you're still going over hills and on the bikes with about 4 inches of suspension.
Exactly.
Here at Glen Helen today for the USGP. My name's Dave Boydston. I'm from AMS Racing and American Vintage Dirt Racers Association. With me, I've got a 74 200 250cc CZ. This is a pretty trick bike right here. This has got all the trick stuff, all relaced wheels, powder coated, reed valve motor, CDI ignition, Mikuni carburetor, works performance shocks. The bike pretty much is the holy grail of the CZ. We've got a handmade aluminum gas tank on it. We've got the taller seat than they came with. We got the factory opaque fenders on this thing. It's really not much else you want except a trophy if you ride the CZ. That's a sweet bike. All right, and over here, this is a Yamaha TT 500. Came out in 1976, was offered by Yamaha until 1982. This is not a standard TT 500. This is a 540 motor in it, carburetor, megacycle cam, high compression piston, Simon's front forks on it, billet triple clamps, custom fender brace torque arm, obviously Renthal rubber mounted handlebars. We've made the bike look like the 74 strap tanks, which had a strap to keep the aluminum tanks on the bike back then. I have never seen another one of the TT 500s done to look like the 2-stroke model. We've got the wrapping on the pipe to keep the pipe from burning your leg, extra cooling fins on things. We've got custom works performance shocks, new Sun rims on it. This thing is a weapon, about 235 pounds. All right, so now what we're trying to promote here is we're trying to get you out to what we're calling like a rough scrambles, or early scrambles type race for these 74 type motorcycles, a track that complements a 60-year-old rider on a 60-year-old motorcycle, that he'll be safe to ride, race with his friends if he wants, have a good time, talk about the old times, and look forward to the next one. This particular race is November 20th, and we are at Glen Helen, and we're celebrating the 15th anniversary of the bad day of 9/11. So our thoughts are with all that were lost in 9/11, and this is 9/11 at Glen Helen.
Hey, it's Lance again, and I was going to show you my 1962 CL72 250 Honda, which has been well used for the last 10 years in ARMA events and then in the Scramble events. The bike has got a later model front end on it, still 7-inch travel off of a CR 250 73, but most of the rest of it's pretty much stock, and it's been very successful with it. It's a good runner, but it's an example of what we do and what areas we're concerned with. In ARMA racing, this is considered a premier lightweight bike. Again, 7 inches of travel in the forks, 4 inches of travel in the rear suspension. Again, this is my 1964 500 Triumph T100. with John Rice sitting in front of it, make sure that nobody steals and runs off with it. Cheriani front forks, the original style Kernut rear shocks, the Wedco side air filter, and again a 4 and 7 travel inch suspension.
Okay.
Oh, Carol, don't let it